Hey. Tony TC Coleman here, drummer knows best, my unlimited podcast. And today I got a real special guest again. I love this guy. He's my brother, and he's one of the baddest jazz cats ever anywhere. He's just amazing. And you all know who I'm talking about. And the ones that don't, I'm talking about Marvin Smitty Smith. All right.
Hey, Tony T.C. Coleman, drummer node.
That's what I'm talking about.
Subscribe, like, and share on all platforms. Hey, everybody, this is Drummer Knows Best again. Tony T.C. Coleman Unlimited Podcast.
Right.
My guest is Marvin Smitty Smith. So anyway, what's going on, Marvin? We're on.
Yeah. Solid. Yeah, man. We good. We are good.
Marvin, starting right off the bat, man, I'm not gonna go into all your history and where you was born and all this and that because everybody already know that. We just gonna start talking about what we do, bro. What you've been doing, man, with your drumming musical career.
Yeah. Well, where would you like to start?
You went to Berklee, right?
Yeah. Well, I visited Berklee College of Music in Boston for a year and a half.
Only a year and a half.
Yep. Yeah. I ended up in December of 1980. I was doing I got called to do a gig with the vocalist John Hendricks from Lambert, Hendricks and Ross. For you youngins that don't know who he is, but there was a vocal trio group called Lambert, Hendricks and Ross in the late 50s into the 60s. And John Hendricks was the principal lyric writer to what John Hendricks would do. He would take compositions and solos from jazz musicians, jazz players, and he would create lyrics to the solos or the melodies. And so he was the principal lyricist in that respect. So when the group disbanded, in the 70s, and so he reformed a group called John Hendricks and Family, where he had his wife Judith, and he had one of his daughters, Michelle, that was singing in the group. And for a few years, he had another male vocalist in the band. And for a few years, he had a male vocalist by the name of Bobby McFerrin.
Of course.
Group for a while.
Yeah.
So now fast forward to December of 1980, I got called to to sub for the great Alan Dawson to do this gig for a week in Vermont with John Hendricks. And so I was like, sure, I'd do the gig. Now, Bobby McFerrin actually left the band before I got there. He left the band like about 6 or 8 months before I did this gig. But anyway, so I did this gig for a week in Vermont, and I was 19, and I remember rolling my drums in to the venue, and I set up my drums, and then John Hendricks rolls in, and he just sees this little kid, right? And he was like, "Oh, hey, kid, oh, hello, Mr. Hendricks, so when will the drummer, arrive?" I said, "Well, I'm the drummer," and he was like, "Oh, you're the drummer?" You said, "Yes, Mr. Hendricks, I'm looking forward to." And he just kind of looked a little. So the pianist that that got me the gig was a college professor. He was a professor at Berklee named Alex Ulanowski. And so John Hendricks goes to Alex. Hey, man, what's up with this kid, man? He said, and so Alex was like, "Hey, John, you won't be disappointed. This kid can play, do it, blah, blah." So after after we did the week, he was just like, "Hey, kid, really like, I really like you playing. I like what you're doing. Hey, you want to come to New York?" Yeah, I was like, "Oh man," So I ended up going to New York, man. So I was like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm out of school. I'm go heading to New York." So that was that. That was the start of it. Yeah.
So you did like a football player in high school or college, like screw that. I'm headed to the NFL, man.
Yeah, well, or NBA,
Yeah,
like a
right.
college basketball player. Hey, I'm going to the pros.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so I went to New York, man. It was man, it was just I wasn't expecting to go that soon, but I did it, man. And what a beautiful journey, man.
So when you went to New York, was he doing a lot of gigs still, or were you
Oh yeah,
was
like man, we were doing like, we would travel. Man, it was funny, man. I mean, it was like Chitlin Circuit
yeah,
retrospect. But man, we, because it was a 7-piece band, we had 4 singers in a rhythm section.
right.
So, man, we would travel cross country, from New York to the Bay, or Seattle, whatever. We would just travel, man. We would be out for like 12 weeks. And man, we
Wow,
would just
yeah.
work our way. We would work our way just across the country, man. There were clubs I had no idea existed in certain states and cities, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we would just work our way. And we play like, we would play maybe a one nighter here, couple nights here, or
Oh
maybe
yeah.
4 or 5 nights at somewhere, like it was great. But that was a great experience, especially, my first time out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was cool, man. Just getting a lot of playing in, man. Just playing and really just learning, just how to really best support the music. You know what I mean?
When you
And road life.
when you first get that Virgin tour thing happening, and you're all excited, man. It's like you would have done it on a buggy, a wagon, on a wagon trail and be happy because you're young and you're like, hey man, I'm playing drums, I'm gigging. You don't be thinking like we are now. Like somebody say, hey, I call you, hey Marvin, I got a gig, man. I'm gonna yeah, well, where is it, TC? Well, I got this van, and you got to set up. You'd be like,
Yeah, right.
well, let me think about it. I'll call you back.
Yeah. I mean, it was really like John had this Dodge Maxi van, right?
Yeah,
It was like a 12 passenger
yeah.
Maxi van, but he had the third bench taken out. So we would strategically pack our luggage and stuff, and then we would try to make it as flat as possible. And then they had a mattress, like a queen size mattress that we would put on top of all the luggage. So 3 people could like sleep in the very back of the mattress.
Right.
And then there would be, like maybe 2 people on the second bench, another, 2 people on the first bench, and then you had the driver in the shotgun seat, right? So, and then we had the acoustic bass and my drums up on the rack, covered in tarp with bungee cord to tighten them around, right? In the basement, right? Yeah, man. That's how we travel cross country, man.
You were all the way in Chitlin style circuit.
Yeah. For 2 years, man. For 2 years,
hey,
I did that with John Henry.
Yeah, the first cat I worked with, man, we were traveling in his van, and it was during winter time, and
oh yeah,
his heater, he didn't have enough money to get his heater system working in the van,
oh, yeah.
so he went and got like a propane heater inside, and we were like riding with the heater. Everybody was like,
right, man, are we gonna blow up in this piece?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, man. No, but hey, man, the wintertime, man, and like, man, John's tires, do they have enough tread on them? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You hit a patch of black ice or something, man.
Yeah.
That car swerved, man. Like, oh man, I don't know how we made it, bro.
So I know, man, but you did, and then so now when you're living in New York now,
Yeah, hey
so
man,
now
like
so now you
December 1980, man. Like I'm up in New York, man. I'm just, man, I couldn't believe I was in New York, man,
so
and it was
so
great.
it
And then
being
I
so
was
so
just,
being in New York, I just want to cut you off for a
yeah.
second. So being in New York now, you're playing other gigs. I'm sure you're doing getting other gigs at the other places around town.
Yeah, well, I just started hanging out at spots. I went to, like, I would find a couple of jam sessions. There were like a couple of jam sessions up in Harlem. There, there was the Lickety Split. The Lickety Split was a spot, and I used to go up there. Let's see, there was Carl's off the corner, and the Red Rooster. There was the Baby Grand, and there was a few places out up in Harlem, and then the trumpet player Mark Morganelli down like just off Greenwich Village on Broadway. He had the Jazz Forum, which he resurrected, a couple of years ago. He's out upstate New York now, but it was on the fifth floor, and he would have jam sessions there, and uh, uh, Joe Jones Jr., Papa Joe's son, was running the
Yeah,
jam session there
yeah,
at the
cool.
Jazz Forum. That so I would just go, when I had some downtime with John Hendricks, I would just go check cats out either at the Village Vanguard, Sweet Basil's, Seven
The
F.
Blue Note, the Blue Note.
Well, the Blue Note came just a couple years later, 2-3 years later. Um, and then there was Bradley's, which was the piano. At that time, it was piano duo or maybe trio with a horn, but they didn't have drums in there then. Only the last 5-6 years of its existence that they had drums in there. But it back then it was just no drums. But just to go hear cats play, a lot of great piano players. Hank Jones, Tommy Flanagan, Cedar Walton, James Williams. Like a bunch of cats. But cats were convenient because they the last set was like 2 a.m. So that was the hang. After all the other clubs, had their last set finished, right?
So
But
were you going to Manny's music store?
oh yeah, 48th Street was
Yeah.
man, that was Sam Ash and Manny's Music, man. And
You
then there
meet
was
everybody. You
yeah.
see everybody there, man,
Well,
coming in.
yeah, man. I mean, you bump into some cats, man. But to answer your question, I was going to try to network and meet some cats, and then I through the jam sessions, I was playing, and then cats say, oh yeah, man, I like I like the way you play, or what. Hey man, give me your number, and you know and so cats just bit by bit started calling me, and I was starting to do gigs outside of John Hendricks. So within the 2 years, I built up enough equity where I felt like, okay, now I can leave John Hendricks. It's time for me to really make that break and leave. And I wasn't sure. I was nervous.
Yeah.
That first week, I remember when I finally officially left John Hendricks, I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do, man?
Yeah.
Man, is anybody gonna call me for gigs? And then I a week later, after I officially left the band, a week later, I get this phone call. Oh, hello, this is Dr. Lonnie Smith. Wynton Marsalis gave me your number. Hey man, I got a gig uptown, such and such, blah blah. So right off the bat, I started playing with Dr. Lonnie, man. And boy, that was beautiful, man. That was Dr. Lonnie, man. The doctor, he was man, that was one of the most creative cats I ever had the honor and pleasure to work with, man.
What was he like to gig with? Was he?
Oh man, we
was
would
he like letting you be free, like, hey Marvin, just do what you feel. Or
yeah, man. No, we would play, man. We would just play, man. And back then, it was me and this guitar player named Richie Hart. Richie teaches up at Berklee College. He's been teaching there for a while now, probably 15 years by now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the band. And at that time, Lonnie would have the organ, with two Leslies.
Yeah.
And then he had 5 synthesizers. No, serious. he had one on top of the organ. He had two on each side. So he had one synth that he programmed with a bass, like acoustic bass sound, and he would use the pitch bend, sound like Ron Carter. He would do that thing. He had another one with like horns. Then he had another one with strings, and then something with like maybe a flute sound or something. And then he had the one on top. Man, and we were just like wide open to music. Wherever you want the music to go, man, we just follow and like, hey, okay, we going over here. Boom, boom, man. That was beautiful, man. That was a beautiful experience. I got to play with Lonnie like about 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was only years later, because that back then that was like 82. That was 1982 when I first started playing with him. And then it was only years later, like maybe 10 years after I finished, like I had moved on and everything, like about 93, we actually did some recordings. We Todd Barkin, who ran the Keystone Corner in San Francisco, and of course he revived it down in Baltimore now. He was doing these recordings for this Japanese record label. So he had the idea to put me, the Doctor, and John Abercrombie together to do. We did 3 records. So the first record we did was like a tribute to Coltrane, and it was called Afro Blue. So we did this record where we would just take Coltrane compositions, and we would just like throw, like a spontaneous vibe. We say, okay, well, how you want to do it? Okay, we'll do it like this, blah, blah, blah. So we did that record. That was what, 93? And then a year later, we did 2 CDs of Hendrix music, Jimi Hendrix. And so,
oh, really? Lonnie?
Yeah. So yeah, me, Lonnie, and John Abercrombie. So so like again, we would listen to like the original track, and so okay, well, how you want to approach it? Oh, well, let's do this as an intro, or do this, or do that, and we did. So those two CDs, one of them's called Foxy Lady, and the other one's called Purple Haze. But these were Japanese releases. But
okay,
you can find them, and
I'm sure you can find them.
Well, people put them up on YouTube, and you can access them that way too. To listen to them. But it was just real spontaneous and just loose, and man, it was fun, man. I was so happy that I got to document myself with Dr. Lonnie, man, because he was like I said, he was one of the most creative cats I ever had the honor and pleasure to work with, man. And so
when we do the Montreux Jazz Fest and the North Sea Fest, all the jazz festivals in Europe, and I used to check him out, man. And yeah, he had a bunch of keyboards. The only other person I ever saw that had like that many keyboards was George Duke.
Yeah, Duke, yeah, man.
George Duke would have 3 keyboards in front, 3 on this side, 2 on that side, 1 behind. We said George had everything, all his feet and everything playing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Duke was beautiful, man. I never got to do any gigs with him, but I had been to his studio to do like some run through stuff, and he did a commission piece for Christian McBride. It was like a bass feature with orchestra, and I played on that. And so, but just talking to George, man, he was a beautiful.
Oh, he was so nice, man. God bless. Yeah. And he used to sit in with us when we'd be at Montreux. We had a jam session where it was George Duke was playing the B3. The keyboard player got up. He said, "Hey," and Herbie Hancock was playing the piano. They took over. He said, "I said, man, why didn't you try to sit in?" He said, "For what?"
Yeah, right, right.
It was like so George was playing the B3 and Herbie was playing the piano, and then we had this little bitty gentleman, I keep forgetting his name, start with a P, jazz guy. He's like a little short, dwarfy guy with the glasses that play piano. Little jazz guy.
Michelle Petrucciani.
Michelle.
Yeah.
And then he'd come and sit in.
Yeah.
And then we had McLaughlin, George Benson,
right,
Lee Ridenour.
Yeah.
Try to make it real compared to what the
Eddie Harris.
Eddie Harris.
Yeah, man. Eddie, man. Whew.
We had all these great people on stage, solo and Carlos Santana, everybody. And BB said the best solo I heard on the whole night, you know, and all these cats are playing. He said it was Eddie Harris. He played a solo and didn't even blow the horn, just playing the
Oh
keys.
yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, only got to play with Eddie just a little bit, man. But I tell you, man, I watch just going to see Eddie play, man. Talk about like genius, man. I mean, that was a cat that, man, he knew so much like harmonic stuff, you know, like all that intervallic stuff he would play in his harmonic sense. He knew all these different scales and modes, man. And he wrote books, man.
Yeah.
But he was a real deep cat. And it's interesting, you know, because you know, I was born and raised in a small town just north of Chicago,
Where at?
Waukegan, Illinois.
Of course, I know where
45
Waukegan,
miles
of
north,
course.
yeah. But you know, my dad was a, you know, jazz aficionado. He was a, you know, hardcore jazz fan, and he would, like we say, he would drive to the city to go check cats out playing, you know. And he would, you know, like his guy was Gene Ammons. That was Jug, man. That was
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
He loved him some Gene Ammons, man. So any chance Jug was in town, you know, back in town playing, he'd go see him. He would watch, you know, he was actually friends with Johnny Griffin. So he knew Griff. And so he would see Griff and Eddie Lockjaw Davis, you know, Jaws, and they would do the tenor battles, right? Yeah. So either Griff and Jaws would play, or Griff and Dexter Gordon, you know.
I used to see Dexter play a lot too. Dexter would actually come sit in with BB, and Stanley Turrentine was.
Oh yeah, Stanley T. But you know, to get to Eddie Harris, like my dad would go see Griff and Jaws, or Griff and Dexter, but he always told me, man, there were two people that Griff and Jaws and Dexter, they didn't want no parts of. It was Gene Ammons and Eddie Harris. They didn't want no parts of either one, because Jug just had that big sound, man. Like wouldn't even step to the mic. He would just blow, just whop, and the whole room would just, and the women would fall out, you know, with Jug. That's what my dad told me. But you know, Griff and Jaws and Dexter, they didn't want to mess with Jug because of that, but they didn't want to mess with Eddie Harris, because Eddie would play all that intervallic stuff and go through all this harmonic stuff. They ain't want to mess with that, man. So
did your dad?
Eddie Harris?
Did your dad was? Are you familiar with Charles Erlin, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Mighty Burner. You know, I wish I would have got to play with Charles Erlin, man.
Me too, man. Me too.
But I got to play with Dr. Lonnie and McGriff. You know, I knew McDuff, but didn't get to play with him. I played with Big John Patton a little bit. You know.
So I mean, so you're growing up around your dad. So
right.
you've been swinging. You've been playing jazz earlier, right?
Yeah, well, you know, because he had the record, so you know, like I felt, you know, the music was waiting on me, really. So you know, so I started formal training at 3, and
wow,
then,
that's why you such a badass.
Yeah, you know, and that was just, you know, my dad had the record, so I was just listening to records. But the first record that really like caught me was this Charlie Parker record, and Max was playing. Max Roach.
Yeah.
And they played Confirmation. And so after Bird played his solo, I think it was either Bud Powell or Al Haig, you know, they played. And then Max played 16 bars. And, you know, before they came back with the bridge, the melody of the bridge in the tune. But he played these 16 bars, and I was just like, man, I heard the music in it, man. You know, the music was there, and that you know, that grabbed me, man. And I was like, yo, I want to make music like that.
Yeah,
you know, on the drum, you know. And then I heard Art Blakey on this. It was this record. It was Ugetsu live at Birdland. That record.
Yeah.
And man, you know, they played Wayne Shorter's tune. One by One, and the shuffle, man. Man got me on that one, man. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's where I want to be. I want to be like that, you know. So That was like a stop, man.
Art had that shuffle, boy. It was
Oh yeah.
swinging like a train, boy. That shuffle, his shuffle, man.
Oh yeah. No, man. Just no, but just his beat, man. Just
Yeah.
it was just like you said, it was just like this train that was just chugging, man. It's like either move or get out the way, man. So
But you see,
I was like that vibe.
what I dig about you, Marvin, like you got something that I've always been scared of it, man.
Hmm.
Jazz chops, that jazz chopping y'all do, you do. I mean, you play funk, blues, you groove, you do all of that. But the jazz thing that you've been doing in your career, man, I'm still scared of that, man.
No, man. Don't be
Yeah,
scared. You
I'm
know,
scared, man. I'm scared of that.
yeah, man. No,
I, I,
I understand though, man. It's just a language just like any other style, you know. You
Yeah,
just gotta
but I really have a
absorb it.
lot of respect for cats like you that can get in there and jump in there. That's like doing double dutch and you get right in there. A rope be all tangled around my head when I get to.
Yeah, yeah. No, man, I just did the work, man. You know, I did no, seriously. I just sat with the records, man. Like I would just get a record and I would just sit down and I put my headphones on and I would just listen to the record over and over, man. To the point where like I knew like the arrangements on every song. So, so I'd listen about, 2, 3, 4 times. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So now I would take the record player and set it, next to the drums.
Right.
And then I'll just put it on, and I'll play along to the record, And then that was so invaluable because I mean, that's how I really heard and felt how a drummer, approach playing time, where he set the
Yeah.
beat, and then like when he would play phrases and play fills or whatever solo, because it was just like a standard, 4-piece drum kit with 2 cymbals and hi-hat, so then you start to understand, oh, okay, well he played the phrase and the sound is here. Okay, well I can kind of have a logical deduction of how he's, what the sticking was, right?
Yeah.
So you just figure these things out, because I'm using my ears to hear it, so I can sing the phrase. Okay, well, oh, it's like that. And then, so, playing along to the records helped me develop that sensibility.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, so I got that. All right. So now I would, okay, I'm finished listening to the record. Now I'm gonna just work on my own ideas about how I could use these phrases. It's like, okay, here's this phrase, but now what if you did this with it? Or what if you like extend the phrase or cut the phrase or put it on a different voicing or, so I was already like doing my own creative investigating and, within that. So that was just where I was, man. I just wanted to know everything as much as I could. Right.
So when you, hooked up with all the cats now, you past the stage of getting to be known. Now you're known, like hanging out with Branford and stuff. I mean, when you did Tonight Show, y'all was
yeah, well, I mean, look, I actually got on the Tonight Show when Kevin Eubanks took over as music director because Branford left.
Dang! Why did I think you were with?
Yeah,
No,
because Jeff, because Tane, did it when they took over in '92, and I came in January '95. But you talk about Branford and Tane and all these, see, I met all those guys when I got to Berklee College, because it was just this convergence of like, it was very serendipitous how all this energy happened to meet at this time, right? Because when I got there, then it was Branford, Donald Harrison, Big Chief, Tane was there.
Yeah, I know Donald.
Greg Osby, Wallace Roney, Makoto Ozoni, Gene Jackson. Let's see, Jean Toussaint, Tim Williams, the trombone player, Bone. Several cats, and then the guys that weren't in school, but they were just still around, gigging around town. It was Kevin Eubanks, Ralph Moore, Tommy Campbell, Bobby Broom,
Yeah.
Victor Bailey, let me see. It was several cats, man. So, it was just a rich environment at that period, man. So we would just like we would jam like 6 hours every day because they would have ensemble practice rooms, but you could only rent the room out 2 hours at a time. So we would have 3 people stand in line to sign for the different hours, the blocks, right? So, one person, would sign from 6 to 8, and then the next guy 8 to 10, and then the next guy 10 to midnight, right? So 6 hours, man, we would all just convene in this practice room, learning tunes, man, and just learn how to play. So it was a beautiful environment, man.
Well, see, I think I'm older than you.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
I'm a
by a
little
few,
bit,
by a
yeah.
few, just a few.
But when I was rolling, when we were rolling up and down the highway on our bus, you know how the band, the cats would be sitting around, we'll be chatting and talking about music and playing music.
Mm-hmm.
So we listened to the master chief behind you there, early miles, the Blue Note days and all of that, and Clifford Brown and all of that, right?
Oh yeah.
And cats be like, we be into jazz. I mean, we're playing blues and R&B and stuff, but
right.
then when you and all those cats you just mentioned, you guys were kind of like, seemed like Miles, Clifford Brown, and all that. Y'all grabbed the torch and ran with it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We were really honored to be able to see you cats doing the jazz thing and taking it on. Whereas I was a young man in the blues world taking it on, grabbing that torch. But you guys were like the talk of the cats. The old cats be saying, yeah, man, you see that cat, Marvin Smitty Smith, man? Yeah, that dude be swinging, man. Yeah. And cats be saying stuff to be like, when you gonna learn to swing like him, man? I'd be like, cats was listening. Everybody was in tune to you guys, man. And thanks for your contribution to the jazz world to keep it being what it became, and where it is now.
Yeah. Well, but conversely, TC, we appreciate guys like you, that still come out here and just, hit some blues, man. And
thank you.
And some funk, like just some, like homegrown action. And like my dad, he had these jazz records, but he had some of BB's records,
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had a few of BB's records, and I one record, I think it was live in Chicago,
at the Regal.
Yeah, at the Regal. And man, and somehow that record kind of resonated with me. I was like 8, 9, but that record resonated with me, man, because BB was just so authentic, man. I mean, he was just really that was him, the blues and see, so much as the sophistication of jazz is there. There's but the essence of the music is the blues. So feeling that connection of the blues and how it connected and translated to jazz and swing, as we know it.
Yeah.
But the essence, the core of jazz as we know it, man, the blues and the gospel, right? So those two elements have to be in there in order for it to have some authenticity and some grounding and some spirit, and so
exactly, yeah.
So when I was working on the Tonight Show, and then you guys would come through, man, it was such a thrill to meet you, number one. But it was a thrill to get to talk with BB, or about just some of his experiences and just get to me, But I remember one time I was talking to him because I played some, because I used to play gigs with George Coleman and Harold Mayburn, and these are Memphis legends, right? And George, and Mayburn, man, they would tell me about the times that they had played with BB for a period. And Frank Strozier, the outfield,
Yes.
he played it.
Oh yeah.
So they told me this story. George and Mayburn, they told me stories about like they were playing with BB, because they were just playing it. They were trying to earn a living. So hey, we played with BB because BB was, he was well respected, right?
Yes.
And so they would play with BB, like in rehearsals, they run through some stuff. And so they would talk about how they would slip in these bebop melodies. They would slip in these bebop heads and just to play their bebop over the blues form. And so now they're playing these bebop heads, and all of a sudden BB would turn around and say, wait a minute, man. Now we playing some bebop. So BB would tell me that story about, yeah, man, we'd be sitting up here running sound check rehearsal, and all of a sudden I'll be, they would play these little jazz melodies, man, and all of a sudden it turn around and now we playing bebop.
Now, see the difference about BB as a blues man, being solid blues. I mean, it's BB King blues.
Right.
He loved jazz.
Yeah.
He loved. He wanted to have the same cred as a jazz guy.
Yeah, right.
He really felt insecure. BB King was one of the most insecure people I ever known. As far as like when we would play those the jazz festivals in Europe and stuff, and you guys would be there, BB be like, yeah, they're really playing, They're really
yeah.
I never was able to do that, I wish I could swing like that.
Yeah. No.
Coleman, you see the way he played that? I want you to swing like that, son. You got to swing it now. And he'd say stuff, I want you to swing, not dangle.
Yeah, there you go. But rest assured, TC, that amongst us, jazz guys, right? There was a true and genuine honor and respect for BB, because for all that sophisticated swing that all these horn players or whatever, like to be able to see and hear somebody like BB with just like 2-3 notes. And to really just cut to the core of an audience's, spirit, and to communicate that and captivate an audience like that. See, all that sophisticated, all that superimposed harmonic stuff and all the slick, harmonic changes, and all the slick rhythms and all that, man. Yeah, okay, that's impressive in its own, place. But man, when you can just play something like man. You know what I mean? Like when you can hit that and see, it's about the conviction, man. It's about the authenticity.
Yeah.
And like you coming from a real place and a real, space of like, hey man, I'm telling you a story. This is how I'm living, right?
And he would challenge, and he would challenge you on stage to do what you just said do. So like, I'll give you an example. So if we play a jump, he'll want to do a jump swing thing.
Yeah, jump blues, yeah. Right. Yeah, right.
And everybody's soloing. He would never give me a solo, right?
Right.
And then finally I was like, one day I was like, hey, everybody's soloing. When do I get a solo? So I said to him one time, I said, hey, what's up? He goes, oh, how you doing, son? When we do the jump thing, the little jamming thing, you never give me a drum solo. I never thought about it. All right, well, see you later. And then I said, okay, so he'll do it again, give them a solo.
Right.
Then he would he would never give me a solo. So then
Right.
he go with those 5 notes of his, and I call them the 5 notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I gotta get the brushes.
Yep.
Then he
Yep.
go, you got it, son.
Ah.
Yeah, dirty bug. So
Yep.
then he'd be like, you see him put his hand behind his back, and he'd be laughing. What is he gonna do with that? You know, he said,
Yeah, right.
And after the show, he said, well, I gave you a solo. So he thought it was funny. Give it to him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then he do it. Now he's gonna do it every time. Everybody. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, you got it.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I'd be like,
Yep.
my hands, and the people go, and then he say, you finally figured it out, did you?
now you talk about like jump blues, shuffle stuff.
Yeah.
See, now I've done this a handful of times where, see, because when I play shuffle, I'm just the train. I'm the train chugging on through, man. I play shuffle, and I'm cool. Everybody, so they want to give a drum solo, and I remember I've done this several times, and I would go to the cat. I say, hey man, look here, man. If you give me, if you tell me to play another solo on a shuffle, I'm gonna strangle you. Like, no, man. Like, why would you stop a bullet train, man? The train is chugging, man.
That's
like,
right.
You don't stop the train. You don't stop the train chugging, man. No. Man, we hitting this groove and we staying there, man. We don't let it move. We don't disrupt it for a solo on a shuffle. That is a cardinal sin with me, man. No drum solo, no drum solos on a shuffle, bro. No, I'm chugging the train. We moving, man, until we get to our destination.
As you I don't know if you know this, but I love trains. That's my hobby.
Oh, beautiful, man.
Yeah. I love trains ever since I was a kid. I love trains.
Yeah.
I got a lot of musician friends who have look like a whole city of trains.
Right. Yeah.
But trains and drums, same attitude. And Bernard Prairie was telling me when he was a kid and he used to hear the steam engine. Choo, 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 choo. Buddy Miles was in the trains. And he was born in Omaha, Nebraska, where the UP train line, but he said he wanted to be an engineer. But just saying trains, man, drumming and that train, that let the drummer, you have to have that mentality. I got you guys.
Right.
I'm gonna ride you. You can do whatever you want. I got it.
Right. Yeah. I'm supporting everything. And that's the way I've always been. It's like, man, I'm always trying to figure out what's the best support that I can give in the moment in the music.
That's a hard thing to find in a drummer, to take the responsibility of I'm a be the support guy.
Yeah, well, that's the function of the instrument.
Yes.
So why would you think that way? I mean, drum, it's funny, like these young cats, man. Oh my God. Oh man. Anyway, man, like
no, ain't no anyway. We can talk about that.
No, man. Well, they just don't. Well, first of all, their work ethic is trash. You hear me? Trash.
Lazy.
Man, they don't want to do no homework, man. None, man. They think they just gonna watch a couple, 2-3 YouTube videos. Oh, I got it. No, man. Look, I've been out here in LA 30 years. In the past, like 4 years, I've been doing like this jam session regular thing I do out here. And man, these youngins come, try to come through, try to sit down, man. Like, first of all, they ain't listening to nothing. They don't listen to no records, and then they gonna sit up there and try to swing, man, they hacking away. And so not only that, it's like they're mechanics. man, they sitting up here trying to swing on the right, and they said, yeah, doing all this, and everything's out chopping. Like, I'm like, man, why y'all?
I don't mean to cut you off, but everybody, and I'm doing these, Drummer Knows Best podcast. Thank you for doing my podcast.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, man.
But everybody that I'm talking to in our age bracket and stuff, all the guys, you'll see who I've been talking to. I won't go through it right now, but we're having this conversation like the young cats, man. When we were young coming up, we would listen to the advice and take it like this is the law that you need to know. And you go in the room, you have to rehearse yourself by yourself to be on that level. You couldn't be cocky like, oh man, I know this. I don't need to hear all that old bullshit. I mean, you might have that a little bit, but then when you get on stage, they'll key in on your ass. Make sure you look stupid.
Yeah, hey man, look, I remember when I first got to New York, man, and the jam sessions, man, and I would see like some of us youngins, man, like cats would get up there, and man, they're trying to get it together, but man, if they just like they would get cussed out, right on the spot, and I was just looking back like, damn. I was like, hey man, I ain't trying to get cussed out like that, man. Let me go like work on my stuff, right?
Yeah. If you got cussed out and got mad like you wanted to fight, you was out. You wouldn't get any calls. But if you take that cussing and go, okay, man, I'll work on it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, Marvin. When I was with Bobby Blue Bland, and it was like the first couple of weeks I was with Bobby Blue Bland, and the man knows his music. He knows he know everybody's parts. He knows what he's supposed to hear. So he had this song called Yolanda. Check it out. Dun, dun, dun. That anyway, the hi-hat is doing the 16th thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So my little young ass, I couldn't do that. I couldn't really.
Yeah, consistently keep it going.
So I do it with two hands. So I'd be like,
right.
And then one day we were on the bus and he said, "Hey Tiger," that's when he called me Tiger.
Tiger.
Hey Tiger, on Yolanda. He didn't know to call the hi-hats the hi-hats. He said,
right.
Those two little cymbals that open and close. He said, you're not playing them right. They supposed to be more consistent, and you doing them with two hands, but now you missing your hand on the snare drum.
Right.
And and I said, since I couldn't do it, I was trying to cop out. I said, well, it really ain't that much difference. He goes, yeah, it is a difference. I can hear it that it's different. Because and he said, when you take your hand off the two little cymbals, you missing that beat and that stops. And I was like, well, I just don't do that like that. So then he got up, walked to the back of the bus, Marvin, and he came back like an hour later. He said to the band leader, Melvin Jackson, "Hey Melvin, Tom Green in Houston?" We were like, He said, yeah, you think he could play that? You remember? He said, what I was trying to tell Tiger there? He said, yeah, you got his number? Yeah. Well, when we get to Houston, call him, see if he available, And then he went back to the back.
So man, that's a straight up G move right there.
Yeah, bro. Check it out. So
that's an OG move.
So then Melvin said to me, "Hey man, he ain't bullshit, man. You better try to play it the way it's supposed to be played, man." And I've been trying to tell you, man. And he said, I said, well, Melvin, man, I can't do it like that. But I could probably practice. He said, well, that's what you better go back there and tell him, right?
Right.
So I knock on the door. He come in, and then I say, hey, Blue, look, that 16th feel you're talking about. He said, whatever it is, what about it? I said, well, I can't do it, but I can practice it and get it right. You can do what? I said, I can practice it and try to get it. You can practice it. You gonna practice, huh? He said, My man, my man.
Now,
All right, then.
I'm surprised he didn't say wow.
Yeah.
that grind,
so
wow.
so
He
then
always
so
said
then
that
he
every time he tried to hit that high note, wow. Man,
he
that
got
would
that
get
from
me every time, man.
he got that from Cecil Franklin, or Aretha Franklin's
Oh,
dad,
yeah.
preaching squall. They call that squalling.
That's
Because when he
squalling.
got
Yeah.
older, he couldn't squall anymore. He kind of had a little hack sound.
Man, I thought that was from too many cigarettes in that Jack Daniels or something, man.
No. And I asked him, I said, how do you squall like that? Because he could really do it.
I
Well,
know.
you
Wow.
always notice, he said, well, I turned my neck so my vocal cord, the larynx, you
Yeah.
know,
Kind of. Yeah.
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 But then he came back out later again. He said, I think we'll be all right, Melvin. Don't worry about making that call. And Melvin said,
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, man, look, them OGs, man, because they would get cryptic. They tell you some stuff and it'd be cryptic. They don't just straight, sometimes they don't tell you straight up. They just do some cryptic thing. They'll say something way off to the side, and he'll be sitting up there thinking, what do you mean by that?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
oh, yeah, man. Now that stuff was real, man.
Then I went and got me. You remember they used to have a practice pad that you could put on your knee,
Right,
a little pad you could strap it to your knee,
right.
and I'd be on the bus, and he come out. He said, "Yeah, my man, my man."
Yeah, yeah, man. But
And then I
like,
got it, man.
yeah, no, but like cryptic stuff. Like those OGs would tell you, stuff. Like I remember, like now this is when I was I had, I was still I had just left John Hendricks, right? So I was at the Jazz Forum doing a jam session, and Dexter Gordon came through, and
Oh yeah.
so we played a couple of songs. So I'm playing, do my thing, and he would just like kind of look back at me, like a few times, So after we finished playing, now mind you, I had just left John Hendricks, right? So I was feeling like free at last, right? So I was like, yeah, man, I'm free, man. I'm gonna go do things. And so Dexter, how Dexter Gordon was yeah, son, young man, what's your name? Oh yeah, I'm Marvin Smitty Smith. Yeah, you sound good. How do you feel about playing in a band? Now, I had just left John Hendricks, right? So I'm thinking like I just busted out jail, prison, free, right? So Dexter Gordon's asking me, how do you feel about playing in a band? Well, I just left John Hendricks. I just left the band. I'm just kind of, feeling like, I just want to open myself and, just kind of do different things and blah, blah, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, son. All right, and he just let it go. And then it was about 15 minutes later with my young dumbass just went, man, he was just cracking on me for the gig.
Right.
I just like blew the opportunity, man.
Right. Well, that comes with experience, and you have to fall down, and a lot, and get back up, and just you have to do something that a lot of these young guys don't do today. I don't see them do that one word, commit.
Yeah,
commit,
man. Yeah.
Commit.
Yep.
I don't care if it's a slow, droopy drawers thing or whatever.
Right.
Commit to that.
Right.
You got to make a commitment to it.
Yeah, no, man. The commitment, the conviction, and the dedication, man, to just work on your craft. Like to do the work, man. Like I really see a lot of these young cats, man. Really, they just don't have it in them like that, man. Because like when we were coming up, like when an artist, like if an artist had like a new record coming out, that was like an event. Like, man, I can't wait for when this record come out. Man, we will wait when the record was released. Man, we run to the music store, record store. Man, okay, I'm get this record, man. Like you sit down with it, and we wear that joker out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the anticipation, like, or next time one of the cats come through your town to play, man, like, man, you trying to like get out there so you can see these cats, you know, because you just want to get that experience, man. And yeah, man, you know, like these young cats, man, it's just so, man, it's very nonchalant. It's like they don't even, you know, it does really doesn't.
This is the
phase them, man.
truth. This is the truth, what you're saying. And you know, I find it interesting that some of our colleagues, they don't want to have this conversation because they don't want to come off like being mean or mean spirited
Oh no, man, I'm that
hating.
old salty. I'm that old salty guy now. You know, I used to think like, man, them dudes is real salty, man. Like them old cats. Oh man, you know. And now, you know, flash forward, yeah, here we are 40 years later, and now I'm like, man, what are you doing?
But the difference is, once again, we didn't get offended by them trying to tell us how to be a part of it.
Right.
We were like, we wanted them to like us. Like I wanted Bobby Blue Bland to go, yeah. TC, you can hear some of the live records where when I was with him and he said, TC. So, you know.
Right. Yeah, man.
Now I'm in. I'm
right.
in.
Right. Oh, that's right.
A good feeling to know that I finally made him satisfied, or whoever the.
Well, that I feel like that I entered the ranks, right? You know, like, okay, you know, you have been christened, you know,
Yes.
by the masters, man. Like
you've been knighted.
Yes, exactly, man. And to have that feeling of like the acceptance from the real bona fide cats, man, that yeah, you have earned your stripes, right? You know, like that really meant something, man. You know, from those guys.
You know, blues music is Black American culture. It's about a culture. It's about a group of people. It's an indigenous art form. It's Black music. It's a culture. Mm-hmm. It don't mean just go put on some sunglasses and a suit and some two-tone shoes and learn a few things about it and say you a blues guy. No different than any other music. When I work with some country artists, I didn't wear chaps and a cowboy hat, but I would go watch those guys and listen to them and try to get inside of that culture of country music, traditional. Mm-hmm. But once you learn the traditional, in my opinion, once you learn the traditional way to do a certain type of culture, a certain type of music, now you can expand on trying something a little different.
But here's the key though, TC, and this needs to be said. This needs to be said. See, because let's get to the real truth of the matter. American music is the origin of the Black American experience. It is Black music. Every genre of American music is Black. You know, country, that's Black music. Who do you think the people had to play the instruments for, you know, when they were owning people?
This is
those people were. They were us. So
this is what's important.
Here's the second part to this, TC.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about, hey, you know, I've studied them, you know, you study the language of the style of music and blah, blah. See, and here's the other part that's just as crucial. See, when you're trying to play this music, you're trying to play this music, which is Black American music. The other aspect of it, you have to respect the people from where the music comes from. You respect the culture and you respect and honor the people that created this music. And see, that's what has been lacking for decades, is that, you know, these people who are the gatekeepers of the industry.
Let me cut you off.
They have no respect for the people, man.
Yeah, let me cut you off for a minute because I want to talk about this. I don't have a lot of time for you, but I want to say this is very, very, very important because this is what's happening right now today with our culture and history. You know, and they know the history. They know the history,
which is why they try to suppress it.
It's got to be that word respect. Respect. You know, how can some dude that's from a different culture dominate the culture that I am. How do
Right.
how do you not respect me? You know, and I mean,
Well, it's easy because you create a situation where you devalue these people and make them as not human.
and
Dehumanize them.
you in the jazz world with all those jazz cats like that man behind you.
Yep.
He he is my hero. He
Right.
is my hero. This guy here is
Right.
another.
Right.
Miles Davis, man, is my hero. I'm so glad I
Right.
got to know him and being with Vince and Daryl and those guys when we
Right.
toured together.
Right.
BB King, Miles Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Miles' whole thing was, yeah, well, I don't do jazz. I do Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, respect me for who I am. And
Right.
I can take this culture jazz and change it 5 times
Right.
based on who I am, where I came from, and what I know about it, and who taught him,
Right.
and take it to the next level. But when you got blues music world today, and this is something that I talk about a lot, like how does the blues get so white with these white guys making millions and millions and billions of dollars, and black guys like me and all of us who've been around Bobby Bland, BB King, the original people who did this, and we can't even get a gig.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's the sheer irony
And
of
I'm just saying, I'm waiting for someone to tell me, is that fair? Is that right? You don't want to hear the
right. Well, I just find the great irony in in a group of people who created a whole system and structure to gain every advantage and privilege and access to try to emulate a music and sing about being downtrodden, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
subjugated. That, I mean, the irony in that, which is so inauthentic that I never want to hear that. Never.
So for me, you know, we gotta get young people to understand the importance of knowing our history and our culture and where we come from, instead of these fools today don't want to talk about black history. We don't want to talk about black inventors, don't want to share the black, it's black, but guess what? It's still fucking American.
Yep. Well, it's Black American. See,
exactly.
And that's the thing that's the thing
I'm
about this music. You cannot strip that away.
That's exactly what I'm saying. What you're saying.
Yeah.
My brown skin ass, I'm still American.
Right.
So, but the beauty of that is that's what makes us so beautiful, because we got all these different types of Americans, but we're still Americans. It's like I always say, like my main man said, Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates.
Right.
So we still candy, but we're different types of candy. So,
yeah.
but being able, I love so many different things and so many different types of people, and we travel the world and we go around the world and we play our music and we can't speak the language, and people respect and love us, and we fellowship amongst all the different people. But you got to respect us and you got to acknowledge who we are. You know,
right. You have to respect and acknowledge our humanity. That's
exactly. And one thing I'm about playing drums, being able to go around the world doing our music, man. It's I feel honored to know you and all those guys we're talking about, and that's why I'm glad to have Drummer Knows Best, my podcast, because I'm not just talking about techniques of drumming. We're having conversations about these things. It's very important to have these conversations,
Yeah, absolutely, man. The music is the universal language, man.
Yes.
And that we can, like you say, we communicate all around the world, man, through music. We don't understand the languages of different cultures and countries, but through the music, we create a bond and a communication, man. And that's the beauty. That's why I'm so grateful to be a musician, man, because I feel I can touch anybody and everyone around the world, man.
And we do it. And we do it.
Yeah. I'm truly grateful. Truly grateful.
So eventually, what I want to do with this little platform I'm starting, Drummer Knows Best, you know, it's I'm telling you what I've learned, what I've experienced. Man, when I musicians, I don't give a damn what kind of musicians you are. When we travel around the world and we check in hotels and we're at airports and stuff, and we run into every kind of musician, every kind of person there is playing music, whether it be the metalhead guy, rock guy, reggae guy, soul guy, rappers, or what have you.
Right.
We have a common thing that makes us respect each other, our music.
Right.
And we don't have issues about, oh man, that's a white boy with a cowboy hat. Man, I don't give a shit about none of that stuff, man.
Right.
Dude, just be respectful and we cool, man. You know,
Right.
and then people and then another thing I get a little hot about is the traditions of certain music, like blues traditions. Okay, once again, we know the tradition, we respect the tradition. Now let me expand it a little bit now with my creativity. Don't get pissed off because I'm not a purist. No,
Right.
that's
Right.
how the world develops and you open up.
Right.
Like just give you an example. Beyonce doing
Cowboy
Cowboy
Carter. Yeah.
Carter
Yeah.
and all these white
Well, the
cowboy
gatekeepers. The gatekeepers.
pissed off saying that's some bullshit. Why is she doing that? And but man, like you say, they don't even know who D. Ford Bailey is, one of the
Right.
first successful black man country
Right.
artists. It's like, who gives a shit if she wants to do something different with country music? Ain't nobody gonna be pure nothing anymore.
Well, each generation is supposed to evolve from the previous one.
So and the country bands today, you hear a fiddle, you hear a steel lap steel.
Right.
So I want to put some funk in it and take that element of country and go.
Yo, man. But there have been country artists now that they're using samples.
Exactly. So the ones that
come
don't
on,
like
man.
it, if you don't like to see change and all of that, well, keep your tired, lazy ass over there in that group. But don't try to prevent us from enjoying and changing and making it good and different where we can have fun.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
if same thing with blues purists. I have blues purists say to me, you know, they'll go on my Drumeo video and I'm telling you, this is the right way. Well, there is no right way. No, it is a right way.
Hey, man.
You gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about?
Right.
That's like me telling you,
right.
Marvin, you wrong about jazz. You know, but this man know more about jazz, and he got more knowledge in his little pinky finger than you got your whole body. So
yeah. You know, like I say, man, the music is supposed to evolve.
yes,
You know? Like I mean, look, I love all the great masters, you know, of the instrument. You know, I met Kenny Clark. I met Papa Joe Jones.
me too.
You know, I knew Max Roach. I knew
Right,
Art Taylor, Roy
Yeah.
Haynes, Philly Joe Jones, Jimmy Cobb, Billy Higgins, right? You know, all these cats. I know, you know, I knew Tony Williams. I know Jack.
That's the
Billy
thing
Hart,
about
all these cats, man.
And that's the thing about music that we grew up listening to, being told about these guys. Then we kept working and we ended up becoming friends and associates with them.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm supposed to look at myself and be like, don't say anything about who I know and what I know because I want to be humble. That humble shit don't work no more, man. I gotta tell you who I am and what I do and what I've done. And I've done it with, I got friends in all kinds of cultures and different types of music. But God damn it, don't get mad at me for being proud and loving my blackness and who I am as a black man and a black musician in this fucking America that hate me because of this. And we have to constantly be arguing about this stupid shit. It's very frustrating.
Right.
I mean,
No, it is frustrating.
we're still talking about this stupid shit. Like, well, we shouldn't be teaching about Black history. You're making my kids feel nervous and bad. Well, that's too goddamn bad, man. It's history. You can't change history.
If you don't want to feel bad, then just do and be better.
Yeah, and my music, as
Yeah.
far and I'm not just a blues drummer. Everybody knows that. And you're not just a jazz drummer. You play every kind of genre it is. But the only thing about it is, man, don't dominate where I come from, and then try to block me out from being successful at who I am. And you want to be more successful and richer and more famous than me, who is this.
Right, right.
I'm done with accepting that and being quiet, man. I'm
Well,
done with
well, exactly. Well, like, see, that's what we call settler colonization, which
it.
has
Yeah.
been, that cycle has been going on for
I
centuries,
mean,
millennia.
I'm just gonna say this about it. So people, it's so funny, man. It's like uh today, in this world we are in right now, today in America, you're trying to bring back all of that negative bullshit
Mm-hmm.
we already fought for
Right,
and get past it. Now you're trying to pull us back into that.
right.
So so what I'm saying right now is, and I don't mind saying his name when it comes to blues. Why the fuck is Eric Clapton a multi-billionaire millionaire doing? Yeah, I said it, Eric fucking Clapton. Why is Eric Clapton more richer, more famous than the original people who did the music? He's buddy guy. You don't have to be kissing
Man,
Eric's
buddy, buddy.
ass. You don't have to be being. I don't want to say nothing because he'll talk to me about it, but he won't get on a social media platform and say exactly how he feel because he don't want nobody to be mad at him for saying it. No, tell the truth, man.
Mm.
You think I feel good to see some white cat that played with one blues guy, rock blues guy, be known as the best blues drummer in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I played with every goddamn body you can name, and you don't even know Tony Coleman who I am. So if I just sit back quiet and be just nice, if I don't say shit, nobody will know. So that's why I'm starting my own podcast to talk to Marvin Smitty Smith and everybody from all genres and all to
Mm-hmm.
let's open and honest. That's bullshit that Tony Coleman or Marvin Smitty Smith and jazz don't get acknowledged for your craft, your what you do, because you are it.
Well, I appreciate it, TC. And my whole thing is, man, it's like, look, yeah, I see what's up. I see you out there. I see your operation. I see you out there. But you know what, man? Y'all can't stop me because I'm just gonna keep being this beacon of light because you can't take my light away from me. Because
No,
I'm
man.
gonna be in that light because I'm just gonna blind your eyes because the light I'm shining just gonna be so bright that you just gonna go blind. So there that.
Here's the funny thing. Black people, since I've been black for 69 years, going on 169 years. We have always been inclusive. We never try to be exclusive. We have always been, hey,
Right.
come on in, have some food, have a drink, come on, party with us, have a
Right.
good time.
Right.
Everybody's welcome. We always been like that. And
Right.
so when we get pissed off about something that's not fair, then people go, he's being mean that he don't want to take a ass whipping. I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I ain't taking no ass whippings, never have. I used
Mhm.
to run from my grandmother who raised me. I didn't take no ass whippings. I run. I sure can't take them today. I ain't never
Yeah,
took.
right.
But
Right.
anyway, music, drumming, music, whatever you do, it's about celebrating life and bringing humanity together. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
But respecting everybody for who they are and what they do, no
Right.
matter what level you are on.
Right.
You're still my person.
Right.
I get just as excited about us talking as I do when I see a little kid who's wanting to know how to become successful.
Right.
I'm excited. I'm just excited about what we do. But I'm
Right.
not going to sit back and be quiet anymore that you're going to think you're going to overlook TC. You ain't going to overlook my black ass. And if you
No,
don't
you're
want me
right.
on your podcast, I'll give a damn. I got my own.
Hey, hello. That's that right there. See? So, that's where it's at. And that's where the struggle, particularly in this country, is all about, is that we got a group of people that have no respect for the humanity of others. and they
Right.
just want to kind of control it all so that they can feel important and significant, which really exposes, their fragility and their mediocrity and insecurity. So, hey, I'm just
You're-
gonna keep doing what I do because y'all can't stop me. So
No,
there's
and
that.
when you sit down behind those drums, man, you give so much pleasure to humanity, man.
Hey
Marvin,
man,
you play your ass off, man. Everybody I know encourage me and inspire me. And I love you, man. When I say I love you, man, I'm not
yeah,
just saying that like some stupid shit just to say. I love
yeah,
you, man. I love all my colleagues from
yeah,
all
man,
walks of life. I
yeah,
love humanity. I love people, man. I just don't love assholes,
yeah, right, exactly, man. But I really appreciate your friendship, man. And every time I get a chance to see you, man, it's joy, man.
Oh,
And I'm
thank you.
just
You
glad.
too.
I'm just grateful you're still here, man. And
Yeah, thank
speaking
you.
truth to power, man, through your aura and through your instrument, man, and through the music that you make. And man, just keep going, brother, because we need you,
I
bro.
am. Thank you.
Man.
God bless you. I love you.
Man, love you too, big brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for having me here on,
Thank you for
Drummer Knows
being on
Best.
my podcast, bro. And we're
Yeah,
gonna be back again, and we're gonna talk some more. But
absolutely.
your ass still owe me a drum lesson, David. I need to know how
Oh
to
man,
sway.
stop.
I
Stop
need
it.
to know how to sway so I don't be dangling.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how you would tell me those stories about BB like, all right now, all right now, don't let me have to, make that call.
That's right.
Don't let me have to call that little fella over there on the Tonight Show. Don't let
That's right. And
man,
he don't do it, and he don't do it out of being mean. He's just trying to encourage you to pay attention to something to put another feather in your
yeah,
cap.
right, yeah. But BB was so kind and gracious to me, man. So I really have so much love and respect for him, man. He was so
Yeah,
good,
man.
man.
Well,
So
we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and we're gonna keep making it better and better every time. So
absolutely.